Apple poaches a Ford executive.
Oh, man. So much poaching going on right now.
To revive its car development. Will, can you read the name of this website to me? Go ahead, Will.
Gig gadgets?
Gadgets. Gadgets. Not gadgets, gadgets. Yes, of course this is going on, Mo. As an investor, you need to know these things.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as an investor in an electric car company that some people may have heard of. Mm-hmm. Especially with a 5-year holding.
Yeah.
After 7 years of going around in circles, can Apple build cars by 2025 as planned? Desi Ujkashevic, who joined Ford after graduating from college, decided to take the job after 31 years at Ford. She was responsible for developing interior, exterior, chassis, and electrical components for many Ford models, including the Ford Escape, Explorer, Fiesta, Focus, as well as the Lincoln MKC and Aviator. Let's take a closer look at her resume.
So perverted.
Easy. I mean, yeah, she's done a lot with vehicles. I mean, that's a long time. Graduated in 1990, up to the technical operations director at Ford North America. Went over to Europe for a while and led a team of 1,000 employees. From 2016 to 2022, she served as director of engineering programs for Ford North America, where she was responsible for leading the entire engineering organization, including exterior, interior, electrical, and chassis functions of the vehicle. So Apple reaches out, hires her, and you sit there and think to yourself, well, where is the crossover? Especially since we don't have any concrete plans, just rumors around this Apple vehicle, but we've focused on this in the past, how employees going back and forth from the likes of Tesla and Apple and so forth. Mm-hmm. Every time one of these moves is made, it seems that Apple's car gets closer. You start hiring people with such a specific expertise, it'd be hard to imagine that going into the smartphone business. Mm-hmm. It seems pretty obvious that you're working on things in the automotive side.
Yeah.
But Apple, go ahead, Will.
But the role that she's, at least during Ford, she is like the director of engineering. So it's starting to come into play. Like, it's not like a conceptual designer or something.
Oh, you're saying because of her profession, you can kind of gauge how far Apple is right now.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, Will. Go ahead, Will.
I'm done.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's a good point. No, it's a great point you make. Maybe they are further along than we think, but also Apple is so damn rich that they could hire these people on spec. They could be like, hey, we want to get your opinion on something.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Or they could experiment with teams and things, and it's so hard to predict when they're going to go into a completely new category. They tend to be very careful about those things, at least recently. Mm-hmm. But I would say if I was a betting man and you give me a long enough time frame, I say they do it at some point. So,
at some point.
That's it. If I were a betting man.
I agree with you.
If I were an investing man. Mm-hmm. Apple stops accepting purchases, debit, credit cards for subscriptions, and app purchases in India. What? Apple users in India can, though, still make purchases using UPI or net banking. What? Seems like a hassle. Apple has stopped accepting card payments for subscriptions and app purchases using Apple ID in India. This means you are no longer able to use your Indian credit or debit card to buy apps from the App Store, get Apple subscriptions such as iCloud Plus and Apple Music, or purchase any media content from Apple. The change comes as a result of the new auto debit rules from the Reserve Bank of India. So it's not Apple that did it. It's the government. Came into force last year, disrupting recurring online transactions. Several Apple users have taken to Twitter to complain about the removal of credit and debit card options from the payment methods Apple accepts in India for purchases using Apple ID. The users who already have a card added as a payment method to their account are also not able to make any fresh payments through their Apple ID, as the company is showing an error saying this card type is no longer supported. Oof, big time hassle. Recurring payments, that would be your subscriptions. Maybe you subscribe to Netflix or something through the App Store. Mm-hmm. You were trying to give Apple their points.
Right.
trying to pay the Apple tax. Government's like, now you can still do it, but you got to jump through a couple of loops in order to do so. However, Apple is not alone in shifting its payments mechanism. Google is also one of the largely impacted companies due to the RBI update. A large number of its users are facing difficulties in making recurring payments and purchases via their cards on Google Play and YouTube. The company is also not able to process Google Workspace. Ooh, that would be disruptive. Transactions for many users due to the restrictions. So that's all your Google Apps and whatnot for business. That sucks. Well, listen, it's coming down from the government, so I assume everybody would be affected equally that does some sort of recurring online payment or some sort of digital app store. But I would assume this would be really prohibitive to some people.